What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping in with some Marvel Future Fight content today. I finally have unlocked Mr. Fantastic and got his potential fully realized. And we did get an update as well for Marvel Future Fight and where we were going for our mid-month, which was a little disappointing. I think it's going to be a little bit of disappointing for most people just because I think there was some expectation with the Multiverse of Saga that the potential was there at the very least for us to unlock or get a new uniform or something for Doctor Doom. I still feel like that's a possibility in the months to come, but it's just not there right now. So what we got the sneak peek for was the June update sneak peek for the Fantastic Four's brother and thing. So let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, not a whole lot to the update in terms of that visual. I think most of us have, if you've played the Multiverse Saga story, you've seen Thing and Johnny Storm in those Human Torch in those uniforms, so it's not really a surprise there in terms of that those were coming. I mean, we all probably expected that. It was just, I think we were maybe hoping for a little bit additional. So here we have on the story, this is CM Fragment of Marvel Future Fight, a hot-headed superhero who has fire-based powers, and a superhero who has accepted his new looks and abilities have also gained new powers as the members of the Fantastic Four. Check out the new looks and powers of the hero in Flame and the new looks of the hero who is as strong as a rock. We will announce more information through the patch details later. So with that, you basically get the idea that there's no more, and very short order, 15 dislikes on there. I think mostly, to be honest with you, I think that's the position that a lot of players have taken with this update, especially with the dev's response. So for those aren't aware, I haven't done a video quite yet on it, but well, I did do a video. The Multiverse Saga is still basically locked, and their fix for this isn't going to come out until the end of the July update. So nearly 5-6 weeks after the event begins, and especially an event that goes into acceleration, the Multiverse Saga remains to be just that, a saga of drama. All they promise is that they're going to do an increase in the rewards, crystal rewards that are available for you to basically alleviate what's going on here. I have made a number of other videos tongue-in-cheek, sarcastically, to respond to just exactly what we're having here, which is my expectation of bullshit. Essentially, playing other games like I do and not just being all heads in on this one and basically shoving my own head up my own rear end. You can easily see that what they've done here is a disservice to the long-standing community and any new players currently engaged in this, because what you essentially have is a game that is competing for you have a game that is competing for consumers. And when you look at what's currently in the consumer market for games, this does not align to it. If you guys have watched my videos on Solo Leveling Arise and the content that they're bringing, this does not match up. If you look at Elden Ring, who has just released a price pack for $40, and you log into that game and you look at what you're getting for $40 inside of a game like Elden Ring, this doesn't align to that $40 is worth this. It's not a problem, I don't think, necessarily for the players who are in position to spend $40. I think it's a problem of connection with the player base and what you're getting for $40. The value of the $40 is not worth it. Like I said, barring Franklin Richards inside of here, who's coming in at a 6-star character, essentially what you're paying for is for the ability to remove a time gate from content that should have been released for free for the players, and then you're basically giving the players the ability to buy into another system that they have to pay to play. So the plus reward acquisition, the hidden story packs, all of these things basically just enable you to engage in their new system that basically does this. And the problem with this is that I don't think people realize, and it's kind of emblematic, no, not to mid tongue in cheek there, it's kind of emblematic of the costumes that we're basically getting at large now. They feel very mediocre on their own. And I think players are not maybe aware and realizing that there's probably some balancing that's going behind the scenes, meaning, you know, I release a costume for a character where the power is inlaid in that, and I have to disperse that power when I keep creating these systems for you to level up your account where you're going to see these benefits, so that way the power creep has some kind of level to it. And if you just look at this screen, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are like at least 7 or 8 different areas in this game for where your power is essentially dispersed with these characters. This doesn't include the artifact systems and things like that, the archive system. There's at least 8 different places where they have dispersed the power from being within the uniforms or being within inside the custom gears and things like that. And now they're dispersing all of that power, and they have to balance all that power. So I can't make Mr. Fantastic's uniform feel like it's all powerful, because then he's just gonna see the team up collections from here when I finally drop a Fantastic Four, you know, team up collection inside there is going to be way overpowered. Or, you know, if I come in here and I say that I'm going to add in this, it's just bad. And like I've said, you can go and play content and go log in. I have not had any interest in this. And I think largely, you know, for most players, these uniforms for Sue, for Mr. Fantastic, have been just basically like average. They don't have a place with inside of the system. In terms of Otherworld Battle, where you're largely using these characters, you don't really have the incentive, especially the way Otherworld Battle is now set up, where it just feels like there's no drive towards. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like right now, if you were to log into Otherworld Battle, and you were to try to go play that game mode in particular, you're essentially looking at almost you're looking at your debuff list. It's basically every character that you would purchase, and T4 character that you would purchase and you would use is basically debuffed currently. I mean, people switched into utilizing all of the warriors of the sky to play last week because of the debuff list. And guess what? All the warriors of the sky pretty much are in the debuff list this week. So it's like the system that you put in place is just basically, it's basically affecting players' ability to use characters that they want to use, because it's just debuff characters just for the sake of debuffing characters. And now you're being forced to play with characters who haven't received updates in forever, or who aren't as strong, or don't have a place within inside the PvP landscape. And it's just pointing out glaring weaknesses in the game in terms of other places that you play. At least that's my opinion, right? Is that, you know, last week was the perfect example of like, hey, now I'm dipping into Warriors of the Sky. Like, these were not characters that people were enthralled about when they were released, but now I'm being forced into a place where that's the best option for me to play. So I'm going to level up those characters and not feel engaged in the content, because I'm playing with Warriors of the Sky, and I'm barely engaged in the content other than an auto mode passivity anyways with this type of game mode. And so it just doesn't feel good in that regard. And that kind of extends to the timeline battle, where it's basically the same characters, however, over and over again, because you don't have this balance to it, and it's the same people winning over and over again. And the excitement of the end game of your timeline battle is Challenge League Cheer, where I just basically clap for some other people to play, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like whatever. So you have all of that where players are basically yearning for new content, and the content that you basically push forward is something that you intend to be yearly in push. Like I showed you guys in a video earlier with Solo Leveling Arise, a content roadmap for that game, where it was going to be content every month, almost new content. You can look at, and this is a Netmarble studio within Netmarble, and you have this as new content when we know and we have complained that this is essentially Legendary Battle, Epic Quest like material. So it didn't take them a year to do this. And if it has taken them a year to do this, I question the development team. This is not enthralling content. Like, I mean, take a look at this. This is the solution to Multiverse of Saga. Is basically like, this is what you this is essentially what you put forth for me, like to be like, hey, I'm engaged by this, I'm playing victorious. Maybe she'll receive an update because she's now involved in the Multiverse of Saga. I mean, a character who hasn't been touched in I don't know how long. Like, I'll give them credit. This animation right here, this looks pretty decent in terms of what they've done. There's no voice effects, so probably a little bit easier for them to do. But ultimately, is this like something that, you know, I think they could have done more with this in terms of what they have. But that's not the case for a lot of this. And then we get this the standard traditional game roll, which just feels a lot like I can't believe I'm playing with Victorious, which feels a lot like you know, any of the normal standard game mode content that's basically been in the game prior to. And it's reused assets. Am I having fun with this? Not particularly. It doesn't really feel that engaging, if I'm being 100% honest. You know, kudos to the dev, but this is not keeping up with 2024. This is something I would have expected, you know, to have received back in 2010. You know, maybe even 2017 or something, but not currently inside of the 2024 landscape where I'm able to play games like Solo Leveling Arise, Genshin Impact, you name it, litany of games, gacha, or however they may be. This just doesn't feel that engaging. I'm playing with mouse and keyboard right now, so I'm struggling a little bit with it, for being perfectly honest. Like this is not intriguing. This is not intriguing to me as a player who's played content in other games. Now I paid, you know, $40 to get Elden Ring, and I've played some of that, and I was immediately greeted into this open world that was massive, you know, by all standards for any games, and had content that just felt really cool. And here I am playing slow ass Victorious in a stage that just feels like, hey, I'm just dodging old ass mechanics from, you know, this could have been Sega generation. Like, this is not going to keep players intrigued, and this is not going to enthrall them to pay $40. Nothing about this is saying, hey guys, you should be paying $40. And I usually tend to like wave modes, but this is just not it. And now we basically get the heals that, you know, your favorite character that you're basically getting in terms of, you know, Doctor Doom isn't coming with that update. And then the update feels disjointed because, yeah, Multiverse of Saga was here, and it's the Day of the Dooms, but we're only getting Johnny and we're getting and here you go. Like, look at this. This is a stage for which you don't even play. You don't even play the stage. It's just them having a conversation back and forth with each other in this way, and you skip the stage. Another stage where we just skip the stage. Like, another stage where we just skip the stage. Like, there's no gameplay here. Like, legitimately, look at this. So we played one stage. I don't even care about the story because it's just not that. And now we finally get to basically 2 stages out of, you know, 6 stages that they've basically done, and this is the content we have. I just don't think that this is going to keep players, you know, invested. And this is not the, you know, if you were intending this to be like the pre-hype to you purchasing, you know, the other content, it ain't it. It's just not it. And you're basically paying this to level up a character who, by all intents and purposes, is a transcendent character who doesn't meet the in-game requirements. You know, if I'm currently playing the game, my day-to-day rotation is going to be World Boss because that has the end game here. Well, guess what? If I try to play this, you know who's not available for me to use inside that list? Franklin Richards, because he's not a T4 character. He's transcendent. So you would at least thought that they would have gave you the option to basically move into getting Franklin Richards as a mid-month for a T4, but no, he's not. So I don't have a reason to invest in that character currently, and I don't know when you're going to come back to Franklin Richards at all with the type of schedule and the roadmap that you've executed with the game. In that regard, it feels lazy. It feels disjointed. It feels like I don't have a space in which to operate and to want to spend money, which is where I've been. If you've noticed, I haven't even purchased the uniforms for these characters as of yet, for Sue, Reed, and it's mostly because like I'm not enthralled by these characters in terms of the landscape which they currently sit. If I was to go look at combat superhero males and I said, hey, these are the landscape of the characters that I basically have, I'm stacking up against my combat characters and looking at Reed in terms of whether or not he's going to fit into the mix of, you know, PvP for which he is built. And I look at these characters by and large and I go, hey, you know, Wolverine's the top of the food chain. I'd rather T4 him than T4 anybody else, which is I'm going to T4 Wolverine because I expect that Wolverine's going to get the uniform in the next update in July, because, you know, the movie's coming out with Wolverine and Deadpool, and he's probably going to receive a uniform. It's going to make him even stronger. So better than Reed. So he immediately loses value there. If I look at you know, blast type superhero females and I try to sit Sue Storm with inside the picture here, I'm immediately drawn to the fact that, you know, she has Aurora, I always call her Aurora instead of Storm. She has, you know, the OG character in terms of Captain America, Sharon Rogers, to compete with. So she probably has more place in truth and honesty than Reed does. I hate when it does this. She has more of a place probably in honesty with than Reed for sure. Oh wait, blast. She has probably more of a place than Reed because you look at the laundry list of characters basically there, and yeah, she probably doesn't have very much competition. So at T4, she's probably going to be worth it for you to T4 no matter what, because she's definitely going to have some type of place when you compare her to the rest of the T4s. But I don't feel enthused about it because of the rest of the update and how it came in there. So I'm like not even enthused about using a blast type superhero female who's probably, like I said, looking at this list, she probably has valid reason for you to just T4 her and level her up. I'll probably level her up, and I don't know about T4ing her, but I'll level her up. Wolverine's gonna take the roost there. So I think Marvel Future Fight has a problem with community interaction and community engagement in terms of how we engage the place. Remember, again, this is not about $40 and whether you have $40. I don't like when people call their communities brokies. You know, like, oh, well, you can't afford this, then, you know, you've got problems, you're a brokey. No, that's not the fucking case. It's whether or not, even if your player base had the $40 to spend, is that $40 worth spending on this? Especially in a market where you are competing against other people. And like I said, you can go online right now and play Elden Ring, which released yesterday, for $40 and have a far greater experience in playing that. You can go jump into solo leveling Arise and have a far better experience in terms of some of the game modes for what they represent than what was just presented there inside there. Like, you know, I can go play a fucking gate mission inside of solo leveling Arise and have a better experience. Matter of fact, I'll show you what that looks like. Just because, like, just to basically show you that I could, like, for no other reason than anything else, to just be like, yeah, this is what I could do. Like, I can go in here and that same level of content that you're basically telling me that you're selling me, I can look at one of these newer games that are currently on the market developed by the same publisher, and I can go, hey, I just got the same animation or a better animation than what I got inside there, and I got better graphics fidelity, and guess what? I've also got better gameplay. So why am I paying $40 for Multiverse of Saga? What's the benefit there for me? The value does not match the $40. That's the point. And that $40, I just don't understand. So we've got Thing, we've got Grim, and Thing and Grim are gonna fall into the same problem, right? You got a blast type superhero male, and you've got a combat class male, and guess what? There are gonna be more they're probably getting T4s. So if you're not gonna just release those characters with uniforms, you're gonna probably release those characters, you know, with upgrades. So now we've got 4 tier 4s probably within a month, and you're basically staring down, looking at those characters in terms of how can I really make those characters work for me, you know, in terms of where they sit inside the landscape, and how do I get to those levels when the rewards to basically get to leveling those characters up don't meet those needs, you know what I mean? So I think we have somewhat of a disconnect in terms of Marvel Future Fight with where we are currently in the landscape of gaming. And you know, if you're just playing Marvel Future Fight, cool, you probably don't see it in the forest and the trees, you know, the value, but it is what it is. So we'll have to take a look at this and examine it a little bit more deeply, but I don't really feel like there's the time. I am going to try to release some videos for you guys, specifically on Sue and I finally got them leveled up, but like I said, I don't have any intentions to T4 them. Sue plays perfectly fine. I've used her inside World Boss, you know, Ultimate, and she plays perfectly fine. She's World Boss Legend. She plays perfectly fine, and she's powerful enough to complete most of that content at stage 2. And you know, that, like I said to you guys before, not a whole lot of reason to, you know, go up any higher than that. The uniforms don't look that great by and large to a lot of people. I'm not really impressed by the uniforms necessarily. They look rather hidden dull, you know what I mean? Like in terms of, well, I'll examine it in another video. But let me know what you guys think. I think the large player base has been on board with, like, this has largely been a month of skip. Like, nothing about this introduction for the Fantastic Four has felt like it should have felt. Like, you know, we're supposed to generate some excitement behind it. Maybe when the movie releases and they redo the characters, then maybe it'll be even more exciting. But at that point, you're just selling us uniforms because you've given us everything right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, peace.